I'm the Dash. And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Dash and Lily, or Lily and Dash, a Netflix original series. A whirlwind holiday romance builds as cynical Dash and optimistic Lily trade dares, dreams, and desires in the notebook they pass back and forth at locations all across New York City. So we've seen similar, stories like this, and it's I trust Netflix to put out a Christmas story right at the beginning of November, right after Guy Fawkes has just been done and dusted, right after we've just had a Halloween. They're like, right guys, get ready for Christmas. It starts at the beginning of November. And so now they've jumped a whole bunch of Christmas films already, and now we have a series. And when I went into this, I totally expected it to be a complete cringe fest, very teeny. And it is some of that, but I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. There's 8 episodes. They're about 20 minutes apiece. A couple are about 24 minutes long if you take away the credits. And I have to say our 2 main protagonists were very captivating on screen. There's a lot less of the teenage angst cheesiness going on in here. In fact, I really like what they did with the story. So you have 2 sides of a coin. You have one with Lily, who just absolutely loves Christmas. She's that girl that will put up all the lights, her front of the lawn, wherever she lives, everything will be bright and shiny and just over the top. Then you have Dash, who doesn't like Christmas because he's been hurt. There's a past love that he just doesn't like it. He has issues with his parents. There's a breakage there in not in parenting, but just what happened with his parents. So he doesn't like Christmas, and so he's the humbug, the Scrooge. And so these two somehow find each other over this notebook that her Lily's brother dared her to kind of do to try and get out there, because she just doesn't do that. She doesn't get out there. She is different. Her friends are all adults. She's that type of person that loves reading books, and this is where Dash and Lily connect. The books. They love reading. They love seeming like they're more intellectual, or just different. Let's not say more intellectual. They're not of the generation where just people just love to be on their mobile phones, that kind of stuff. And so she needs to find and connect with someone. And so here they connect, but they never meet each other. They don't even know each other's names. And there's this kind of romantic idea of how love can blossom, but it looks a little different. Of course, you're going to get the cliche kind of romantic storylines and tick certain events that will happen. You can definitely guess where the story's going to go, and you can definitely guess what's going to happen at the end. You can probably guess pretty much beat for beat what's going to happen. However, this will put you in the mood for Christmas, I think. I was surprised that during the series, while I was watching this, I was like, yeah, I think, especially as 2020 has been what it is, I would quite like to do more of a Christmas this year. Go all shiny, go all bigger, and it really kind of helps put you in the mood. And there is some cringe and there is some cheesiness, but it definitely kind of gets you, get that spirit going, which I really appreciated. And there wasn't nearly as much cringe as I thought there was. In fact, there were some really great heartfelt moments, especially with Dash and his father, with Lily and her parents. It's not just their relationship. You see the kind of what's going on with each family. So you have these 2 takes. There's a lot of narrating, because obviously you have to, as a viewer, know what's going on with the notes inside it, so you get to hear their voices as they're reading to each other. That narration's going on, and it's really sweet. And it's an interesting idea, not just to have that kind of typical story of how romance will blossom in between teens, even if they're different. This way it's in between the books. It's very reminiscent of kind of stories. They even mention the Notebook and other Christmas stories where like they probably will end up together eventually at the end, but they've got to go through a whole traumatic thing, but will the guy or the girl get the ones that they truly love? I do like some of the tangents they go off in this. I think that's probably one of the strongest points of this series, is because it has something to say with some of the other characters. They do build a little bit, but it's always at the point of what our main protagonist is doing at that moment. So our protagonists will learn something, and then they will share that with their families, or in reflection, their families will learn something from them. And that comes later on as they've gone through some of their stuff. That kind of shows like the moral of the story. That happens. And so we have this well-crafted story. I have to say though, the dialogue is very good. It's quite quirky, it's witty at times, it's believable, it's not overly top cringy or cheesy. You don't like every second line go ugh, but more, you're kind of more interested to see what they're going to say, what they're going to do. There's genuine comedy, but not like laughing, but just like joyous moments. I think probably why this works so well is that our two main leads are actually very good as the protagonists. You are engaged with them, you kind of feel for them, you are rooting for them. I think that's really good. So I think it'll be easy for critics and reviewers to pull this apart and saying, oh, so cheesy, I guess exactly what was going to happen. This is, you know, it doesn't do anything new in the book. I don't think these type of series need to create a whole new genre of, you know, TV series or films. It is going to be what you expect it to be, but also I think there's something a little bit more, a little bit deeper going on at times. The score is great. I'm not a huge fan of the Jonas Brothers, but there is that towards the end, and there are moments where you're like, oh, okay, that's deeper than I was expecting it to be. I think it's well acted. I think it's filmed well, and the craft of the series is done well, but I think it comes down to the scripting, the dialogue, and our two main protagonists that will kind of hold your attention. I'm going to give this a solid B. It's not brilliant, but it is entertaining. I enjoyed it. So chat to me in the comments below. What did you think about this? Have you heard about it? Do look out for our other interesting series reviews this week. We've got an interesting one coming from Hulu. I believe it's dropping today, No Man's Land. Hope to get that out as well. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We've got a cornucopia of new content arriving every week. I don't know why it said it like that. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.